Oh, all that winning and losing and cheering for your team stuff's overrated in 2025. Let's make some money on Monday Night Football. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and I'm being a little facetious in my intro. Obviously, I want the Commanders to beat the Bears on Monday Night Football, but for the first time on this channel, we are bringing a little bit of gambling content. So this is the disclaimer right now. If you're not 21 years or older of age, then do hit the like button because I appreciate it and it supports the channel. But unfortunately, you might want to click off here. This video might not be for you. But with that being said, even if you're not interested in betting on these picks, this can shed some light as to what I'm expecting from standout players in this Monday night matchup between the Commanders and the Bears, the rematch of the Hail Mary game. Some notable absences: Terry McLaurin out, Noah Brown out, potentially Colston Loveland out for the Bears, Grady Jarrett out as well. We're going to talk about the big quarterbacks, Jayden Daniels, Caleb Williams, also get some running back props, talk about receivers, all that great stuff. And I'm going to finish with a final pick for this game. Moneyline spread, you're going to see what it is. We are going to jump into that in just a second. Before we do, guys, if you do like this new style of video, do hit the like button as well. If you're a returning viewer, appreciate you guys being here. If you're new around this channel, if the betting SEO on YouTube, the algorithms drew you in here, then why not hit that subscribe button as well? If this goes down well, maybe I will make this a recurring thing moving forward. So I wanted to share 5 player props that I'm targeting in this game. And then as well, like I said, I'm going to share a major market pick, spread, money line, total. You got to wait. That's going to be our final pick of the show. I want to start off with the player props, though, because there are a lot of there's obviously some standout players in this battle. You know, you've got the number 1 pick, Caleb Williams, number 2, Jayden Daniels, but there's also some up-and-coming players, none more notable than Mr. Bill Croskey-Merritt, and that's who's going to kick us off for the first ever gambling show on this channel. So I like Bill, Mr. Croskey-Merritt, to go over his total of 67.5 rushing yards. This number opened at 60. It has been bet all the way up to as low as 67.5 at Bet365. A lot of sportsbooks already have it above 70. Full transparency here. I bet this number at 61.5. That's what I got it at. So obviously as the line goes up, you're losing value on it. But still, I do think it's going to be a big day for Bill. Why do I say that? Well, he leads the NFL in yards per carry for starters. He averages 6.6 yards per pop. He's not just reliant on a great offensive line, and he's also not pulling a rabbit out of the hat. He leads the NFL in yards before contact per carry. He leads the NFL in yards after contact per carry. So as impressive as his numbers have been, it's not dependent on one or the other. There's a symbiotic relationship. Everybody works together. So the offensive line's doing a great job of getting a good initial push. Cliff Kingsbury's doing a great job of scheming Bill open, the running lanes open. But then he has demonstrated the elusiveness, the vision, the ability to break tackles, the speed, the one cut to get to that second level and basically turn a profit every time he carries the football. Last week was the first time that he was clearly RB1. He got 14 carries, took it for 111 yards. He also did not allow the backup Chris Rodriguez Jr. to get on the field until the third quarter. And on top of that, C-Rod is now banged up. Seems like maybe it could be a debut, Commander's debut for Chase Edmonds or even Donovan Edwards. We're going to have to wait to see. Maybe they just roll into the game with 2 running backs. I don't think that's likely. But the point I'm making here is Bill should dominate the carries in this game. And there's no more favorable matchup for running backs than the Chicago Bears. Now, they are coming off of a bye week, and they're getting a couple of key players back, one of them being TJ Edwards, but it is his season debut. It's a season debut for a couple of players. And just because they could make a positive impact, that's what you would expect from the past, doesn't mean they're going to do it playing catch up. This is their first game of the season. For the Commanders, this is their 6th game. So are they going to be in game shape? Are they going to be up to game speed immediately against the best running back in the league and against the best running offense in the league? At least statistically speaking, of course, that's a big ask for them. The Bears this season allowed 6.1 yards per carry. That's the highest in the NFL. That's the highest in the NFL since 1934. They also allow 164.5 rushing yards per game. That is the second most in the NFL as well. So with Grady Jarrett, the big defensive tackle, being out, the Commanders' offensive line really going to work, and this being a game where it sets up well for the Commanders to just control the clock, run the football, I do think Bill is going to have a big day. Mr. OZ. Commanders fans will know him well. OLAMIDE Zaccheaus, longest reception over 14 and a half yards, best odds -112 at FanDuel. This is a really off the beaten path sort of prop, but allow me to explain myself. So there is a chance that Colston Loveland doesn't play in this game. There's also a chance that he does play. And this doesn't hinge on Loveland's availability or the lack thereof, because the Bears have Cole-Kmet. They'll just put him at tight end. OZ's never playing tight end. What I am saying here is OZ, being that slot receiver sort of guy, he's going to occupy some of those spaces in the middle of the field. And if Loveland doesn't play, that's one less favorable target you have. But even if he does play, I still like this prop a lot. If you've been following the Commanders this season, you'll know that Bobby Wagner is the best he's ever been moving forward, but moving backward has been a bit an issue. He's lost his speed, so in match and man coverage, he's been exploited in several instances. Look no further than the Bijan Robinson 70-yard reception in the loss against the Falcons. And then also with the Commanders pivoting to this zone-heavy style of coverage, well, they routinely only have two linebackers on the field. They use Frankie Louvu as a rusher a lot. They'll call some fire zone blitzes and things of that nature. So those zones, while you're not going to maybe give up the massive play, or at the very least, you're not going to put your players individually in as compromising of positions, there's going to be soft spots available in that zone. Justin Herbert did a great job of picking that zone apart. He just didn't really look like it if you look at the box score. But if you actually watched him play, Herbert was getting a lot of completions, and some of his biggest ones against that zone were called back for penalties. So Zaccheaus, having had the chance to be re-signed by the Commanders, but ultimately they let him go after being a part of that team that went to the conference championship game last year, considering he will be in that middle of the field sort of area, and he should be matched up / filling in the spots next to those players who lack speed, the Bobby Wagners, the Frankie Louvus. I do think this is an opportunity to target him with some props. So whether you like his yards, whether you like his receptions, whether you're me and you like his longest reception, I do think he's a player to watch in this game. So last weekend, Zach Ertz didn't catch a pass, and that was the first time that it happened in his career since 2014. Every game he had played from 2014 to October, 2025, every time he'd been on the field, he'd caught at least one pass in a game. Last week, didn't happen. That does not mean that I'm giving up on Zach Ertz. It's quite the opposite. I think there's tremendous value for Zach Ertz to catch a touchdown pass plus 220 odds at BetMGM for the best odds available there. It was a very uncharacteristic last week that is not indicative of Zach Ertz's trajectory moving forward this season. He started the year by catching a touchdown in the Commanders' first 2 games of the season. There's no Terry McLaurin. There's no Noah Brown. And without them there, Zach Ertz is your best man-beating receiving option. Obviously, he is not a receiver, but as far as just targeting and isolating him over the middle of the field, Zach Ertz is still excellent in those priority situations, your third downs and your red zone looks. Without Jayden having those outside guys to throw to, like I mentioned, yes, you're going to see a big emphasis on the running game, but that also set things up like the RPOs, the play actions. And when you get to the red zone, we know the connection that JD5 and Ertz have. And all we heard throughout the entire camp period was that it's stronger than it has ever been. So I do think you're going to see looks funneled to Ertz's way. Maybe not overall. Maybe Debo's going to catch 8 passes again, just like he did last week. Maybe Bill and even McNichols are going to get some work out of the backfield. Maybe you're going to get screens to Jalen Lane. But in those crucial moments, this might be a game Zach Ertz finishes with 3 receptions for 37 yards, but that's 2 first down conversions and 1 touchdown. So for this value, again, plus 220, I definitely think that's worth a punt. So Mr. Caleb Williams, I made you guys wait long enough. Obviously, we want to talk about the quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, over 19.5 completions. Best odds are -120 at Fanatics Sportsbook. So this season, he is 2-2. The Bears have already had their bye week, so they've only played 4 games. He is 2-2, but both times he went under, he was right there knocking on the door. Just lost by the hook. He had 19 completions. Both times he went under. And again, this line is at 19.5. Now, the Commanders are 10th in the NFL in completions allowed. They're also, I want to say, 9th in opposing quarterbacks' completion percentage allowed. That being said, they do still give up 20 completions per game. The Bears, coming off of this bye week, I do think Ben Johnson is going to script up a game plan that puts Caleb in favorable positions early on. And that might mean checkdowns, screens, things that stuff close to the line of scrimmage. But still, just get Caleb in a rhythm, get him rolling. You're going to have plenty of time to figure out what you want to, what the game plan is going to be. But also with that week off, you want to make sure that Caleb isn't rusty. You want to make sure he comes out, finds his rhythm early. This Commanders defense, they're going to allow you to do that. They do generate pressure at a high rate, and that's how they force most of their incompletions. But if quarterbacks get time in the pocket, or if they're able to scramble and evade that pressure and roll out, Commanders give up an awful lot of big plays, okay? They allow the highest yards per completion in the entire NFL. And Caleb Williams, to his credit, has been solid when blitzed this season. The counter to that is that if the Commanders get home with 4 and they're able to drop back in zone coverage, this does become very difficult for Caleb. But with the Commanders' run defense, with DeAndre Swift's horrible performances this year running the football, I think the game's going to be in Caleb's hands anyway. He's going to throw with probably 35 plus passes, and to get to 20 completions at that rate shouldn't be too difficult for old Caleb there. So I like him on the over on this line. The best Jayden Daniels prop, I'll be honest, as much as JD5 is going to dominate the headlines in this game, if the Commanders win, we're going to talk about him. If they lose, you're going to point at Jayden, even if it's not his fault, or even if it is because of him, they win the game. He's going to dominate everything. But I'll be honest, I don't really love a lot of Jayden Daniels props in this game because I don't really think the game's going to be in his hands. I think it's going to start in the running backs' hands, or the running backs, plural, the Bills, the McNichols, and the other players. And I think it's going to be in the defense's hand. If the Bears are having success, well, Jayden's going to have to throw. And if he doesn't, they're going to run. Yeah, I could see Jayden going over on his rushing prop. I could see him going under. I could see his longest reception being a bomb down the field because the Bears creep up on defense because the running game is working. I could see him checking it down the whole game because the Bears are so afraid and they're playing soft coverage. There's a lot of ways this could go. But if I do have to find my favorite prop, I really like Jayden not to throw an interception at this game. Best odds, minus 128 at FanDuel for this one. The Bears lead the NFL in interception percentage. However, Jayden hasn't thrown a pick this season. And one thing that you can always give to him since he entered the NFL, which was still recently, but still in the time we've seen him, he has prioritized ball security. Without Terry McLaurin, without Noah Brown, I don't think you're going to see aggressive Jayden pushing the ball down the field. I think you're going to see take the guarantees, move the ball down the field, control the clock, lean on the running game, and that's going to help him play a clean game here. Again, the way this game sets up, and I'm a Commanders fan, obviously, but I'm not inserting any bias here. I'm just telling you how it is. The sportsbooks have the Commanders favored by 4.5 to 5.5 points. That means the Commanders should win this game. You have the better defense. You have the better running game. The way you can lose is by turning the football over. So unless we get to late in the game and the Commanders are down, I don't think you're going to see Jayden take unnecessary risks. And the way it sets up, I don't think they'll be in that position. I don't think they'll be chasing the game late in the fourth quarter. So all things considered here, as good of a job as the Bears have done forcing those turnovers, they also allow, I want to say, the second highest completion percentage in the NFL at 74%. The cornerbacks are not disciplined. They want to jump everything. They want to make those big plays, but in doing so, they're actually kind of shooting themselves in the feet. So very boomer bust defense. Jayden has done a very good job at avoiding those bear traps, those pitfalls. So I think he plays a clean game and he cashes this no interception line. And for my final pick here, I put out a full game preview. It's the last video on my channel before this one. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I dive into literally every aspect you could think of this matchup, and that really put some numbers behind this. But I will just say my score prediction here for this game was 27-20. Commanders win. So I do like them covering the 4.5 line. Like I mentioned, this is up to 5.5 at several other sports books. I'm a little confused by that because the juice was on the Bears to cover 4.5. But now you've seen the line swing a half point or a full point in the Commanders' favor, despite McLaurin being ruled out, despite Noah Brown being ruled out. So I don't really know what's going on behind the scenes there, but the best odds you will find for this are Commanders minus 4.5, minus 115 at FanDuel. I just think the Commanders, like I said, I don't think they're going to be chasing. I think they establish the run game. I think that makes the passing game a whole lot easier. I think the Bears don't get anything going on the ground. I still think Caleb could have a solid game. Okay, like I said, I like him over 20 completions, and I could see him throwing 2 or 3 touchdowns in this game, but I don't think the Bears just have enough overall juice. I think the Commanders, coming off of what they did in LA last week, I think they're going to be rolling, knowing that they have some really difficult games up ahead, and this could be a launching pad. If you get a big win against the Chargers, and then you double back with a solid, strong performance against the Bears. That gets you feeling good before you go on the road to Dallas, go on the road to Kansas City, and then you host the Seahawks and you host the Lions. Really tough stretch coming up ahead. This is a good time to get everything in check and in rhythm for the team. So, guys, that's going to do it for my picks for this game. Make sure you go to the comment section. Let me know what you think of these as well. Also, be sure to tell me if you enjoyed this style of video. And if you did, maybe I'll bring it back to the channel. But as I always say, guys, I'm going to go ahead and head on out of here. Make sure you enjoy the game, specifically this Monday night special. And I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.